It's Wednesday, my crew. How's it going? Hey, Mr. Magoo. Thank you for the resubscribe. Hey, Nix. Diginanigans. The hottest new streamer on the block. How's it going, y'all? Oh, there's some new radio stations. Oh, there's a lot of new... Oh, there's a polka radio station. I gotta update my radio station lists. We're gonna listen to... I'm just gonna stick with what works. How's it going, everyone? Hey, Nix. Your watch streak is back to 0. Rip. You gotta do what Magoo does. You just gotta AFK on the page. You got a solution? Might have decided to play OSRS. I don't know what that is. Old school RuneScape. Oh. You know, people talk about old school RuneScape. This is not the RuneScape I remember that I played as a wee lad in short trousers. This is way nicer looking than the RuneScape I remember. I don't know what you call that. Oh wait, no, maybe it is. Maybe it is. Yeah, old school RuneScape. I remember this. This was horrible. I definitely played that in like middle school. I think it's nicer than the one I remember. I must remember like the truly ancient version of this. How's it going, everybody? Happy Wednesday. Let's get game devin. Let's not get bogged down in how old school is your old school RuneScape. Nanigans, you're doing pretty good. You got a lull in your day. You're working on some more of the Vox import functions. Yeah, awesome. Yeah, it was cool getting to see a little bit of what you were doing live. I lurked a bit, said hi a bit. It was over a holiday, so I was kind of watching from my phone, if anything. It was cool. I was glad to see it. I hope you do some more streams in the future here. All right, so I fixed some stuff. I fixed the stuff we were dealing with last week, which was an inconsistency when we would switch from the raycast control to like the manual control, like when I like want to manually control the Z level. I added some code to make it consistent. It works. I don't know why. I don't know why there's an inconsistency switching between the two modes, but I was able to isolate it and mitigate it. So you know what? We're going to call that good enough. So I think we're all good on that. We'll have a quick double check here. But then we're going to work on something pressing that has only become recently apparent. Although it's quite obvious when you think about it. All right, so now I can do my regular, you can see the regular, you know, raycast-based input solution. Now if I hold control down, nothing changes. Except, you'll notice we didn't switch faces. The raycast has been turned off, essentially. And now I can manually change the Z level. I can't go down further than this, which is... Oh, no. Okay, I understand why I can't do that. I can go down further than this here. Not here. That makes sense. But yeah, I can change the Z level essentially. I want to add maybe some camera controls to that. I haven't decided. But now we can basically say, here's a wall, make it this tall, right? And then for the other one, I could do that again manually, or I could just go like this using the raycast. So having both, it really is the best of both worlds. The thing that seems slow is that when and I've never really tested it before, placing things more than like one. This seems slower than the old model. Like the old input system. And I'm trying to understand quite exactly why. Especially if we start going like large volumes, we run into a major slowdown. Oh, if I let go of control, that goes away. That's interesting. That makes sense, actually. Yeah, so you'll see if I'm... So, like, this is fine. Walls are generally fine. What really is rough is when we try to do, like, a big volume like this. You can see, like, how much it's, like, stutters to accomplish this. So there's a few ways we could deal with this, because there's also a few causes. My suspicion is that the cause is a slowdown in Godot when it's unpacking the tile map data that we send over. That's where I think the slowdown is. So I have some ideas for that. We could mess around with thread worker pool. We could also design around this. What I'm thinking is that you can only extend a construction in 2 of 3 dimensions at like sizes greater than 1. This is my thought. So maybe your options are, you can make, if you keep Z as 1, you can make a floor. If you keep, you know, in this example, we keep Y as 1. Like, we only extend along X. If we extend along X, then we can also extend along Z. Same deal. If we extend along Y, we can also extend along Z. And so basically just say you can make floors and walls and just kind of outlaw this kind of thing where you're just like, let me carve this huge solid block. Because this is where the slowdown is happening, is when I do something like this. So I'm thinking about just making that illegal. Because there's no reason you need to do that. This isn't
Logic
some
was
CSG.
impeccable, Captain.
Yeah, thank you, Sapphire. How's it going? I see you there. Hey, Corolla, how's it going? I really like this space combat stuff I'm seeing that you're sharing. Your game looks super cool. I like how it's based around kind of this, like, sudden jerky motions to, like, get out of the way of enemy fire. It's not, like, high continuous speed. It's like this dance of, like, maneuvering. I really enjoyed seeing that. It's a really interesting way to approach it. It's juiced up too. It looks really slick, Corolla. Sapphire, you're tired as usual. Me too, even though I just had a holiday weekend. It was kind of busy. I was building a computer for my partner and I went and visited them. It was really nice, but it ended up being a busier holiday weekend than I would have thought. Nanigans, all good. No consistent schedule yet for your streaming. You'll absolutely continue with it. Nice. And you do so around 3 times a week. That is good. That is good. I would say try to do 3 times a week for like 2 to 3 hours at least. Because what I find is that my audience curve, like, people join the stream for about the first hour and a half to 2 hours. And after that, we're pretty stable. So, and I've heard that advice from other people where they're like, length of the stream is crucial. So that means just streaming less often for longer. I think it's really good. I say, as someone who rarely makes it over past the 3-hour mark. But I acknowledge that less than 2 hours is, like, not sufficient for the purpose of growing a stream or anything. Corolla, you're doing all right? You're getting some coding done tonight? Hells yes. I'm not gonna get coding done tonight. This is supposed to be my night off from that. It's like the one night in the middle of the week that I don't have like a co-working event. I was supposed to do a co-working event yesterday, but we lost power multiple times. I actually got to watch a electrical team on like cherry pickers swap out a transformer right outside my window. It was cool to watch. They did it really fast. It was like watching like a pit crew team. It was wild. There wasn't much else to do. The power was out. It's fun to watch though. I had never seen anything like that. It was pretty slick. Sapphire, you finished Babylon 5. You couple of movies to watch. Ooh, I guess it's pretty much time for me to start to open up our discussion forum on the Discord. I've thought about it a little. I need to think about it a little more, but I want to do it. I haven't decided if I want to have just a generic discussion forum or if I want to like be a little more specific. And if I want to specifically be like, these are considered spoilery, or like how I want to have the policy of spoilers and stuff. You're not going to do any coding tonight either, Nix? Nice. That's what I like to hear. All right, so what do we want to do? I mentioned a couple of things I was thinking about in terms of how to design around this stuff. We'll see. Shenanigans, that's the plan. Nice. 3 times a week in 2 to 3 hours. You usually have time to yourself in the evening after the kids are in bed. Good to stream after that until you call it a night when you don't have prior commitments. That's great. That's great for one thing. That's not when I stream. That works for me. I can hang out. Yeah, I find I have to do my streams in the midday or the morning. If I do it at the end of the day, I am so done. I can kind of work in the evening on stuff, but I don't know. I would have a hard time. So power to you to be able to, you know, finish all your work and then all your dad stuff, and then, you know, still have energy left over at the end of the night to work and stream. It's a lot. It's a lot to do. All right, so what do we want to... So I've thought about this. I talked a little bit about what our options are. One is that we design around it. We only allow you to build along 2 dimensions. So you could either build a flat floor along the X and Y, or you could build a wall. So you could build along the X and Z or the Y and Z. That would solve a lot of the problem, because it would just reduce the chance that you have a big 3-dimensional block construct coming in. And I think that's fine from a usability standpoint. I would have to decide how the system does that, but that's doable. The other thing that's an option is to do something at the tile layer, the tile map layer level. Shenanigans, the evenings, pretty much the only opportunity you have for streaming, unless you want to dip into your weekends. Something you're not willing to do at this time. No, don't do that. Do not. Yeah, don't dip into your weekends. Do not. I currently have 1 day that I don't do anything. I work my day job Monday to Friday, and I stream Tuesday to Saturday. So I right now only have 1 day that I'm like not doing anything. And that has been super crucial to maintain my sanity. I don't know if I'm going to be able to continue doing that if this whole return to office thing, depending on how this return to office thing plays out. Because they want us in the office probably towards the end of the year. They're saying something like Tuesday through Thursday. If that happens, I would probably need to move my streaming schedule to be like a Friday to Monday thing, in which case I would have no days off. And I'm not looking forward to that. But it would probably be like focus on my day job during the middle of the week, and then use the weekend and the beginning and end for work from home and streaming and stuff. We don't have to worry about that right now. Rallying cry of the channel. Let's not worry about that right now. But it is something you have to think about. You got to take the opportunities when you can get them to stream. Oh, shit. Can I get a ship it for Arneo, who has just reached a 50 stream streak? Incredible. 5 here. I got 5 ship its for 50 streams. That's incredible. Wait, what? Are we getting a new streaming schedule? No, Nix. I'm thinking in the future. My work has threatened a return to office mandate, an RTO mandate, if you will, towards the end of the year. So I'm just thinking about the future. But no current plans to change anything. Arneo, you should get a non-computer hobby. Sapphire, you'll be there tomorrow? Oh, wow. Incredible. Thanks, Nanigans. What would a non-computer hobby even look like, Arneo? I like your the UI you were posting in the Discord is looking good. I agree it's too big. But it was looking good. Maybe we'll look at it real quick here. This is looking really good. I like the textures for like the radials. You got the lighting really nice. The quality is there. I do agree it's large. I like the little camera that follows the ship around. Oh, and this is like an enemy ship zoom in. That's slick. Super cool. Arneo, maybe you'll learn drinking. That's funny. D&D. There, you got it, Arneo. Get a D&D group together. And like ban computers from it. I don't even know how one does D&D now. I know D&D Beyond has kind of changed the game. When I was playing, it was still like you just had a huge pile of books that would travel around. Books and notebooks. All right, what was I thinking? Okay, picking up my thought process. I'm thinking there's another option, which is to try to handle the optimization down at the tile map layer end. I know we're off to a great start here in terms of like actually getting anything done. You don't have the fire and rocket emotes that we do on Discord here. Someday. But yeah, it is a totally different set of emotes. I have an idea for another Bernard emote. I just haven't decided which one to use yet. I have an idea for a drop bear emote for Bernard. All right, so another option we have is to juice up the tile map data part. So for one thing, do we have an early out in case the count is 0? Actually, I guess we wouldn't want one, would we? All right, where do we control this stuff? Here we go. Hack tile map data, tiles, target node, counts. Or 0, counts dot length. Counts II, 0. How do we know what this is? New int block tier count times tile layer count. Ah. So if I... All right, so is there a shortcut here? If it's 0, if the count is 0. Fixed byte. Pack data. Where do we get packed data from? Oh, we declare it right here. By casting bytes to a short. I feel like I should just call it shorts. Okay, I don't think the problem's here. So I think the thing we could do is we could juice it up by using the worker thread pool on the Godot side. We need more space-related ones. Yeah, well, because we haven't really focused on the art side of this game, we haven't had that opportunity. So far, all my emotes are from the jam games I've done. But I feel like we'll get there. Put a space helmet on Bernard someday. He'd be quite large at the considering his resolution. I'm not saying we won't eventually have a Bernard. maybe he's like a big stuffed bear or even a living bear, but a stuffed bear would be funny. Maybe we'd get him in like, you'd see him in like a cargo bay in like Lo-Fi Flyby or something. Maybe we could get a Chewbacca situation going with Bernard. Cargo, you sure hope it does. Brutal. All right, so the thing, if we're going to do this, the thing we're curious about and interested about is the thread worker pool. The idea would be to just throw a ton of threads at this problem of unpacking all of the thread worker pool. I should probably look at the whole thing. Show me the thread worker thread pool. Why am I getting this wrong? Worker thread pool. Singleton allocates some threads on startup. Used to offload tasks to these threads. Yeah. So it doesn't sound like this is something I need to configure. Tasks hold the callable to be run by the threads. Worker thread pool can be used to create regular tasks, which should be taken by one worker thread, or group tasks, which can be distributed between multiple worker threads. Group tasks execute the callable multiple times, which makes them useful for iterating over a lot of elements, such as the enemies in an arena. So we have this process, takes an index, task ID, worker thread pool, add group tasks, process enemy ID, process enemy II, enemies.size, worker thread pool dot wait for group task completion. That's slightly complicating. Y'all are funny. So this should be okay because we're calling these on the tile map layers, which are fairly they stick around. The concern with doing this is that the scene tree changes while we're doing it. So if we do an add group task, how does that work in terms of distributing the labor? You'll probably need to emit a signal when this task is completed that the C# system can wait for, so we don't accidentally mess that up. So if I just add a task without it being a group task, it's just executed by a worker thread. You give it a high priority, and I could label it. So this is, I think, where we are going to... Oh, hold on. I want to check out this wait for task completion thing. Oh, so high priority, apparently what this does is it limits the number of threads that the task can take. So it looks like we could hang the main task. Because a high priority task could actually take all of the threads. That is interesting. There's a Godot engine issue open for it. It sounds like I would want to use a high priority on these. Priority tasks can run on any thread. Low priority tasks can only run on low priority threads when there are high priority tasks in the queue. I wonder if there's anything else talking to the worker thread pool. I wonder how much engine stuff talks to that. Probably a lot. I don't know if the worker thread pool owns all of the threads available for running stuff or if it's something else here. Unclear, but we can work on it. We can work with it. I don't think I would want the group task thing necessarily because of the way that we call it from C#. So in C#, when we do this, when we're calling it, we say something like send tile map data nodes.call. Unpack tile map data. So it calls this on the parent. We might want more. We could include something in the data and use that as a group. Because essentially the way this is structured is that what I'm storing is like this, like the editor blocks node. This is what the game thing knows about. But that editor blocks node is a block space, and a block space has 64 tiers or levels. I used tier because level was already taken, and it's a little confusing. So this is like block tier 0, 1, 2, 3, blah, 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 blah. I think we count up from the bottom. Yeah, we do. That's what we do now. So it almost, to me, makes sense to pass this list in. Although this doesn't really work, because this set of tiers are themselves. Each block tier consists of 3 block tile map layers: the X layer, the Y layer, and the Z layer for the X face, Y face, and Z face. So block tier has a block face X, block face Y, and block face Z. I'm trying to minimize the amount of like memory stuff I'm doing here. The question is, this is also another option for how to rein in the performance on this. There is an option where we could do some kind of hashing or something to keep track of whether a tile map data actually changed or not. And if it didn't actually change, we don't need to send it over. I don't think that's the problem, though, because if that was the problem, I would expect to see a similar level of performance regardless of what we were doing. But we're specifically noticing poor performance when we are attempting to upload many tile map layers at the same time. Which makes me think we don't pay very much for ones that don't really change. If that makes sense. I'm glad the accumulator wasn't needed. I'm going to get rid of that code. Pretty happy with how the input model is set up now. We have to fix the block palette stuff. None of that is set up anymore. So let's just try to do it this way and see if we just get anything for free. How would we do this? It belongs in the hall levels. No, the tile levels. Extends tile levels. Unpack tile map data. Pack byte array. So what we do when we get this, there is a number of layers. This is confusing. I guess it's the total number of layers. The size of each layer. The index. I honestly think this is an amount of work that we could give. We could have a whole thing unpack on one thread, and I think we'd be fine. I just want to make sure it gets done in a frame. So I'm considering going wide on it. However, we also are using some threads on the C# side, so I don't necessarily want to just be like taking all the thread. You know what? Let's figure out. I wonder if there's a way to figure out how many threads we're reserving through the worker thread. Cool. Doesn't look like it. Get caller, get group ID, process element count. Doesn't look like it. Let's read a little bit more. I don't think I'm worried about the thread safe API thing. Obviously, if you're doing something, do it like call deferred. If you're messing with the scene tree, but we're not messing with the scene tree. We'll have to think about this when it comes to instantiating like sprites, like crew members or something. Yeah, I think for our current purpose, it's totally fine, and what we're doing is very safe. I just want to make sure that we give Godot enough time to finish processing this stuff before we resend anything. So we might need to wait on a signal. So we might drop a frame occasionally. Effectively. So do I need to... Oh, this is a separate thing. So I could create a thread. Wait to finish disposes of it. I probably don't need to just be creating threads. Yeah, it's a slow operation, especially on Windows. We're not doing mutexes and semaphores and... I don't think we want to do it this way. Yeah, let's just use the thread pool, worker thread pool. Okay, I don't know if I need to read any more of this. All right, same behavior. Is it bad? I feel like this is like a post-trauma like Unity response, which is like before I dig into some complicated thing, I like read whatever relevant Git issues is open. I'm like, let me see what kind of crazy things are going on. Create a pool of threads if you need to. Cheap to reuse them. Yeah, it's just Godot did that for me already. I don't really want to do that if I just have them. I was just trying to learn a little bit more about how worker thread pool exists. Like, how many threads does it have access to? It seems like there might be a project settings that controls some aspect of that, or it's hard-coded somewhere based on reading this. Yeah, this low priority thread ratio. I kind of like this low priority thing, not being able to use more than 30% of the CPU time. But I don't really want... That's kind of like how I like to do my threading. Like what we're doing on C# is we have some processes that take a while being some number of frames. I kind of like letting those just work in the background until they're done with a low number of resources. That's like one approach. The other approach is to like give the task as many threads as you can just to get it done as quickly as possible. I think for this purpose, which is updating the tile map layers, we want that. We want like to go wide as possible, high priority. Because that's essentially our rendering frame rate in some case. I mean, not in most cases, but like in the editor, that's kind of effectively what it is. Hey, Rhiannon Journey. How's it going? Happy Wednesday. You're probably doing a bunch of threading with all your processing stuff, right? In your editor, Nanogans. We have to either explain to the user, blah, 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 blah. Explain to the user that any task that the main thread is waiting for should be a high priority thread. I agree with that. Oh, this is Clay John. Talking to Clay John. Clay John's pretty dope. All right, low priority tasks. Random Journey, it's going okay. Yesterday and today have been meetings. The SEO companies are tired of it. Oof. Meetings. Shenanigans, you're not currently threading anything. You fully expect to? Yeah, makes sense. Hey, Commander Apollo. What's up, gamers? It's Wednesday. How are you doing? What's up the ceiling? Nix. You bad. I like this song. Acoustic for ears. What a great... Oh, I've already uploaded this. Oh no, this branch has conflicts that must be resolved. Oh well, okay. That reinforces what I already wanted to do anyway. Okay. All right, yeah, let's do some threading. Let's juice this up. The problem is I would need to call it from here, I think, which is not a problem exactly. I just need to make sure I get the C# version of the call correct, which is not easy. Probably expect snake case. Actually don't totally know how to use a call across this barrier with this thing. You know what we could send all this data over in one call, and then we could have another system divvy it up and actually do the thread management. That might be better than what I'm thinking about here, but let's see about it. See about the implication of trying to do this in C#. Took 3 whole tests a day. It's only your second day at your new school. Oh, wow. It's a lot of testing. Scripting. Bezos is refusing to let you resub to the channel. Gross. Oh, Rhiannon with the 50 stream streak. tied with Arneo. I wonder who's gonna, yeah, 50 stream club. Wonder who's gonna give it up first. No. I don't want to chat with Gemini. I hate this so much. Unpin. Get out of here, Gemini. Does Gemini have associations with Janice? I don't think they are, but I just want to double check. Obligatory Greek mythology question. Greco-Roman. Oh, no. Gemini are the Greek twins, Castor and Pollux. Why did that open a PDF? Hey, Xenofe. I thought about it because Janus is the two-faced god. I'm like, that would be a great name for an AI. You'd get the good place connection. You'd get a lot going on. How are you doing, Xenofe? Oh, there it is. It worked. Resubscribed. 11 months. Oh man, this is your last month with your 6-month badge. You're getting a new badge next month. Had to do it in the browser. Ugh. Arneo, if you lose your streak, you want us to celebrate it? It's an insomnia counter for your time zone? Oh no. What, does that mean when Nanigan stream, it's like really early for you? All right, where's the C#? Give me the C# API call stuff. So generally what I've been doing is like a .call, like I've been calling it. Let's find an example. Callable. Not quite sure why we do that. There's some methods such as get, set, call, call deferred, and signal connection method connect that rely on Godot's blah blah blah. Yeah, okay. Already know about that one. There's not anything in here to help me. That's fine. Global classes. Oh, this is for making a global class, not accessing one. Well, let's just try it. Let's see what we can do. All right, so we would replace this to be like... Make sure I got this right. If you get a 50 streak in Gigananigan streams, send help. Oh no. What are we working on today? Well, we fixed all the bugs. We fixed all the bugs with everything as far as... Well, there's a couple things, but let's pretend we fixed all the bugs. I noticed a couple of cases that I don't like. But we can... we can now seamlessly switch between our raycast mode and like manual control. So I can start just manually resizing things, and then we can go back and use the raycast for the other wall here. So we can do that. But we are running into performance troubles. Where did I lose everything? Well, I just moved the camera and lost everything. I don't know how. I need a center camera button. I don't know how I did that. But what we're noticing is performance issues. What the heck is happening? So if is it because I had... The camera is being crazy. Can I fix this? There we go. Whoa. All right. This doesn't quite work the way I expect it to. Should be able to fix this though. So what if I do this and then lock it? Yeah, there we go. Still learning how this interface works. We'll do this and then please. Okay, I think I saw what way the camera went. Something about moving the camera while something else is happening is causing it to fly wildly out of control. I don't know. I feel very hair triggered this week. I don't know why. The slightest thing is like triggering me. Okay, this is fine. So here we go. We got this. I'm not going to touch the camera because I don't know what the heck is happening. I think it's trying to run some stuff. Oh, maybe the camera is just like not having a good time. I gotta figure out what's going on with that. Maybe it's... Maybe I'm not cleaning up the input correctly and it's using it somehow. Because this is fine. The camera works fine here when there's nothing here. It works fine here too. Still working fine. If I control something, undo it, still working fine. If I do this and then I let go, still fine. Yeah, it's some kind of like lag thing. It's causing the camera controls to be crazy. But what were we doing? Oh yeah, so we're basically running into performance issues. So you'll see how slow this is. I don't know if I want to support this. We talked about this as a solution. So it's pretty easy. It's pretty cheap and easy to make walls and to make floors. Like, this is pretty responsive. It could be a little more responsive, but it's pretty responsive. Same with this. Pretty responsive. Same with, like, making a floor. Very responsive. Probably because of how everything's encoded in the block space. But when I do something like this, it's just like, oh god, why? So I'm thinking about a number of solutions. One is to ban this so that you actually can't just make giant blobs. You can only make walls or floors. However, that's not a super valid solution because I do want you to be able to copy and paste block spaces like volumetric prefabs. Like, here's a room. I like this room. Let me copy and paste this room. So we do need a solution to that, and the issue seems to be at the tile map layer end. Since when has there been a camera? It's a good question, Arneo. There's been a camera for a while. Ever since we increased the block space beyond 1 camera size, or beyond the window size. So yeah, so I think the slowdown is on the tile map layer side, so I'm thinking about ways to speed that up. One thing is to just give it more threads, and that's kind of what we're doing. Hopefully that catches you up. Nix, you're personally taking a chillax day. You can't be too productive. It would hurt your carefully crafted reputation. I think that's very wise. All right, so if I wanted to call this via the thread pool, I would do so by saying... I would add, what the heck is the task ID? Oh, that's the task ID. So I'd say group task. I would give it the callable. And I would give it whatever parameter it needed. So let's just try that. The problem is we need a wait, which is also why I don't exactly want to do it here. I kind of want to do it at the board level, size, or the board level or something. Is that doable? Although, actually, maybe we could put that in a task and make this part of the task, is this wait. That actually might be better than casting a signal. It's actually not that bad an idea. In which case, I really do want to make it one group task to send all of the tile map data for the given frame. It's not great because of the way I have this organized. Let's try it. Let's see what we can do here. I think the best thing to do would be to do it on the Godot side. Maybe we make each of these its own task. We make them not bound to each other. In which case, running the tile drawing system would be its own task. Nope, we're heading into ads. Hold on to your ads, everybody. And then what would I do? I would make like the calls out here, subtasks. So the way this would need to work, let's just make a copy of this for now. Or let's just mess around with it down here. So my understanding is that we would need to do something like... We don't want to do this during an exit. We would say like worker thread pool. What's the difference between worker thread pool and worker thread pool instance? Let's do this. Oh, I see. That's a class. This is a static. We'd say add task. Say add group task. Tasks needed. Number of threads the task is distributed to is defined by task needed, where the default value means it is distributed to all worker threads. High priority determines if it has a high or low priority. Returns a group task ID that can be used by other methods. Every task must be waited for completion using wait for task completion or wait for group task completion at some point so that any allocated resources inside the task can be cleaned up. I'd be tempted to make this function a task. The only real question is to do it once or many times. I think we start by just giving a single task and see if that works for us. So we can say something like that. The callable. So that's the part. Does .call give us back a callable? Public variant call. No, it gives us a variant. So if I want to pass a callable into here. No, I don't care about string names. Oh. Would call deferred actually kind of help here? I wonder if that helps. I guess it doesn't need to happen here. I could do the worker thread pool stuff in the node that we are calling this from. I don't love that. Actually, it kind of makes sense to do this, because then we could just... Actually, this kind of makes sense. I think we do want to do this. What we want to do is we want to get back a... I want to say out... what did this return? It says variable, but I would love for it to be a specific thing. It's an int. Okay. It's either a task ID or a group ID, depending on what we're actually doing. We're going to call it a task ID. Out integer task ID. Well, how are we going to get this back? I guess we can't get this back. Unless this method could also have an out variable. The only question is, where do we do the waiting? I guess that could just be the result of the function. Could be the ID. So if we wanted to do that, we would do it like this. Here. So unpack tilemap data. Pack tilemap data. Instead of a void, we could return an int. We could say variable task ID equals... Actually, I kind of want to say group ID. Well, let's start with task ID. Let's not go crazy with this first. Let's see if we can even get this working. Variable task ID is an int, and it equals worker thread pool dot add task. I wonder how we want to do this. Maybe we have like a receive tilemap data function or something. Func receive tilemap data. Pack tilemap data. Packed byte array. Should need an int. You could say variable task ID. Actually, we could just say return this. This would still be a void. Yeah, this sends an int. So we could say add task. We would say unpack tilemap data. I need to bind something to this, though. I don't remember how to bind. Nix, OSRS is a bit too boring to fully focus on. You're going to go and work on your mod. We're heading out early. All right. See you, Starship. See you tomorrow. Add group task, focus enemy AI, enemies.size. Okay, so I can't really pass anything along here. Well, there's probably a way to do it with callables. Prints, args, callable. Oh, so I would just need to make a callable. Cool. Let's say callable.call. Is this it? I never do this stuff. Yeah, Nix, your mod is looking really cool. Well, I passed the callable, so I can't say callable.call. Built in, it can either be a method within an object or a custom callable used for different purpose. Like all variants can be stored in a variant, blah, 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 blah. I need to call bind. Returns a copy of this callable with one or more arguments bound. When called, the bound arguments are passed after the arguments supplied by call. Yeah. I'm a little confused about how this is supposed to work. That's because I never use GDScript or anything. Tasks hold a callable to be run by the threads. Yeah, but how? I need to associate some information here. Action callable, elements and task needed. Action callable. I do think we eventually want to use a group task. I just want to work my way up to it. I don't totally understand. The name. So I'm not sure how to pass it. Not sure how to pass the argument quite in this way. Oh, do I just pass it in here? Oh my god. Does that work? Oh no, that just like straight up calls the function. That's not what we're trying to do. Okay, so this technically works. I don't know why there's a warning. Yeah, I need to get this. So can I just say .bind? And then send this in? Is that just gonna work? Because bind comes in after the call to arguments, but I don't know if it's just gonna substitute this in with the bind. Yeah, I don't think the bind is going to work the way I expect it to. No, bind is not the right approach because we're not just adding this data. It's like a core thing that we need. I have a hard time believing there's no way to pass the core like signature argument into a callable when the task is getting added. I could get around that by just making this like a member variable, but that's not a good way to do it. I don't think it's bind. Well, let me see. Oh, you know what? Can I make a callable? Can I do it while I'm making the callable? It looks like what I'm supposed to do here is that. Let's see about that. So what I should do here is I should say variable callable equals just like making a lambda or something. That's kind of weird. Why do you do it? Why do you call it like this? Okay, someone actually asked the same question. I just want to make sure. Okay, but how do you... Okay, does this work? Oh, this might just work. Bind seems to be weird in how it functions. Make sure I understand how this works. It looks like what I want to do, especially if I want to do this as a group task, is that I want the data to be like a member variable. That's kind of annoying. But, you know, we could probably make that work. It makes sense. Because if it's a group task, you're not passing the array around. All we would really need to do is know the size of the data. All right. Okay, I think I know what I'm doing. It might just work. Oh, no. Don't associate me with Todd Howard. Nothing is wrong with Todd Howard. It ain't me. So we're going to make this a member variable. Packed tile map data. It's going to be a packed byte array. Also, actually, we'll call it tile map. Well, let's say packed. We can just call this tile map data, I guess. I don't like the way I'm doing this. TA, I hate Todd Howard confirmed. Oh my god. Look, all I'm going to say is what's the difference between Todd Howard and, like, Peter Molyneux? Like, and I like Peter Molyneux. But, like, what's the difference? I'm going to call it packed. I'm just going to say new tile map data. How about sent? So instead of this, whatever this nonsense is, we're going to say packed tile map data equals sent tile map data. Being passed by reference, so we don't care. And then what we'll do is we'll say return worker thread pool. We'll just do add group task. Let's do it right from the beginning here. So we'll say we can do that. Unpack tile map data. We want to say the number of elements is, what's the number of elements? Is it layer count? Is it hard coded? We're gonna do it like this. We're gonna say sent tile map data dot decode U16 0. So the number of layers is correct. We already have an array of block layers, array tile map layer. Actually, it should just be block layers dot size, huh? No, let's not decode anything. Let's just say block layers, because if there's a desync here, we have a problem. We'll say block layers dot size. Tasks needed. We'll leave that as default. Is there anything else I actually need to set? I need to set priority, I think. So we'll say -1 and we'll say true. So I want this to be a high priority function. Art Dev Gus, thank you for the follow. Appreciate you. How's it going? Happy Wednesday. Right now we're multi-threading a process that takes in a bunch of packed tile map data and updates all of the associated tile maps. So we can stop passing that in. So this is a little different. So actually what this needs, what we need here... Actually... Slight problem. Slight problem here. You might need to do a little bit of this work initially, or this isn't going to function correctly. So we need to set this layer sizes array. This is pre... This can also be like a packed array. This could be a block layer size. I acknowledge that array int layer index in range layer count. Actually, no, I guess I don't need to do this, huh? We can just figure this out. Oh, it does say append. Why does it say append? Oh, no, because we're just adding it. Oh, we can calculate this on the fly. Never mind. Never mind. But what this does need to do is it needs to have some kind of layer index. We're going to hide this stuff for now. What we're going to do is we're going to say variable layer size equals packed tilemap data dot decode u16. And the offset is layer index times 2 plus 2. Say it's an int. We not use this? Should we not? Do we not need this? Oh yeah. Oh, we say layer size I. I gotta get rid of the eyes. The eyes do not have it. Layer count. What do I need a layer count for? No, maybe we just do that once. Variable layer count int. And when we're done with this, we can say layer count equals block layers dot size. We don't need to ask every time for a number that never changes. Corolla, you're almost done with UI tickets. About to join in tile map heck. Oh, you're excited. What are you going to use tile maps for? Because your game is so frantic almost. Is it like some kind of backdrop? It just doesn't seem grid-like. Maybe I have to go back and watch some of the videos. Is it like for a background feature? I really like the action you've got going on. Can I show it? Is it okay to show the video you shared? Basically backgrounds and foregrounds. Oh, what you can run into. That's fun. Sure. Okay, cool. Yeah. So this is like the sequence Corolla shared with us. It looks so good. I love this action. Yeah, the little boost is so nice. Just boost, get out of the way. Super slick. Okay, I kind of see where the tile system is in the background, though. Watch that one more time. It tricked me because this looks very 3D, this background. Oh, it is 3D. There's like a shadow up here. So you'll have some kind of collision layer that's mapped to these backgrounds. Hold on one more time. Oh, yeah, because the shadow, look, the shadow is lower here. And it goes up here. I love that. That's very slick. I didn't even notice that, but that's really good for like your sense of place. Looks really cool. It's very cool. It looks very good. I love all the UI. I love the very minimal radial UI. Watch it one more time. Yeah, this kind of UI is great. Stays out of the way. Maybe Arneo should consider a radial UI. I don't know. Shadow is done by pre-rendering a height map on all the tiles. Ooh, fancy. Very cool. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. I really like that. Oh, layer begins, layer ends, layer count. Hang on a second. Iron range, layer count. That's not right, is it? I need to make sure that we are all agreeing on what layer count means. I think I do. Ah, right. This is the offset to get rid of the headers. Yes. Right. Let's put this here. I wonder if this will work. So this would break it up by tier. No, this would break it up by layer. It would do each layer separately. Kind of like that. And we return task ID. It's actually a group task ID, right? It's just called a group ID. Group ID. This if peak state is not equal to state.exit thing is, we cannot do that here anymore. We would need to do that somewhere else. So we'll need to say return. So instead of this, so let's comment this out. So this is not how we're going to do it for now. Instead, when we send tile map data, we'll say no. Well, I guess guess we can do it. No, we have to return something. So we'll say nodes. Nodes. Int. Node. Call. We do need more cooperation between everything. This is going to be receive tile map data. Data. And we'll say return. Actually, we can say out group ID. Out int group. Oh, hold on a second. These are very masked now. You say ID. Oh, can I just say group ID? No. Oh, can I not get a... Oh, no, it's supposed to be the... I'm an idiot. We're also not returning anything. We're just saying group. We also don't need to do this as an out parameter. I don't know why I've got it set up to be an out parameter. We could, here's what we could do. We could say public static bool send a tile map data out int group ID. We could say, we could do this. We could say like this. We could say group ID equals this. Oh, shit. It's the way that I'm calling this. Can't actually get the task thing back. Maybe we do need to do a signal. I don't want to do it that way. We have to get this group ID, this group task ID back. I have to decide how I can do that. Let me see if there's any help in the C# docs here. API differences. Gotta go. Have a great stream. Thanks, Commander Apollo. Thanks for hanging out. Have a great rest of your day. Appreciate you. All right. So if we're calling something like this, doing this node.call deal. How do I get something back here? Doing a wait. You know what? I guess we could do this from C#. Here we go. I have an idea. I have an idea. This could even be a task. Theoretically. Let's cross that bridge when we get to it. Oh, I know why we aren't doing it this way. It's the callable. It's the issue of the callable. So many regrets. So many C# regrets. It's just annoying managing the two. Since I use C# and I use GDScript, and then I use GDScript and C# together, it's like... okay, it's fine. So... Give me the differences here with our, specifically with calling stuff from a node. Callables. I'm interested in callables. I'm sure they were on here and I scrolled right past them. Could have sworn I saw these. Callables. Here we go. Get object, get method, dot target, dot method. C# supports callable if one of the following holds. Callable was created using the C# callable type. Callable is a basic version of the engine's callable. Custom callables are unsupported. A callable is custom when any of the following holds. Callable has bound information. Callables is created with bind, unbind, or unsupported. Fascinating. Callable is created from other languages through the GD extension. Okay. Bind and unbind are not implemented. Use lambdas instead. Callable, callable. Callable.from. Blah, say hello, name. Oh. Maybe we can do this. This is why you read the docs. Nanigans, you're gonna... So far, you've not had any reason to touch GDScript, but you will be adding Lua to the mix. That should be fine. My problem is I want to have my cake and eat it too. Hey, Sorcerer, can you comment on why GDScript and C#? For particular reasons that are kind of esoteric to this project, which is this is an FTL-like. It's got a lot of simulation stuff. I wanted to avoid having every simulation object be a node. I basically wanted to keep the scene tree very stable and not try to simulate everything in the scene tree. So we have this C# domain, which is the gameplay layer, which is like the simulation layer. Everything resides in there. Our simulation objects are very lightweight structs. So the simulation is very performant, and we basically use Godot for rendering an UI. We basically send stuff back to Godot that we need rendered, and we get inputs from Godot, and that's pretty much all we use. So when we're using GDScript, when it's by itself, it's handling the rendering in the UI, but sometimes it needs to cross that domain threshold, right? And it needs to tell C# something, or it needs to get something from C#. And that's just when that's when I have a bad time. Is that the connecting point between the two? How are you doing, Sorcerer? Okay, Nix's explanation is better as to why, which is that I'm mad. It's true. Sadly, you neither have nor can eat said cake. It's all a lie. That's a lie. Arneo, this is the Godot docs. If it's not the page on Rigid Body 2D, you're not going to recognize it. That's funny. Yeah. The Godot docs are good. Godot docs are good. I could probably have them be zoomed in more so that other people could read them. So I think we can use callables here. We can do this lambda thing. This is a little bit of an issue. So this from, I need to look at callable a little more. So what does callable.from expect? Like callable equals callable.from. What does from expect? An action. Okay. And so can I take this? Can I say nodes int node dot method? No, I can't say get method. Can I just say, refer to the method directly? I don't want to call it. I want a list of your methods, dog. Dot receive. Give me your methods. Give them to me. Sorcerer, would it be less awkward if it were C++ in GDScript? Yes. Since the engine itself is C++, asking because you're curious about GDScript unique qualities versus Python and Lua for working with C++ objects. I cannot answer that. But yeah, GDScript is very tightly coupled to the APIs of the engine. So it's one of those things where it's like, if most of what you're doing is calling the engine and asking the engine to do the work, it's great. If you try to make your own structures and like do your own scripting in GDScript, it's slow. So it's like, I don't know about its advantages over Python and Lua because I don't believe Python and Lua are particularly quick either. But it's like, yeah, if you have a performance intensive or sensitive thing, you write it in C++ as like a GD extension or something, and then you access it through GDScript. That would be the best thing to do. The important caveat for me is that I don't know how to program in C++. I'm like a very basic kind of guy. I've learned GDScript over the last few years, but I'm like, I know JavaScript and I know C#, and that's what I got. So we're making it work. Arneo. So is Godot for rendering is like an outsourcing thing? With C# you have more control of the things you do, but Godot is there to make some things work kind of out of the box. Basically, I'm trying to pick my battles. So for anything that will just work in Godot and needs nothing else, I'm just using Godot. The gameplay layer is enough of a specific thing where I want structs. I want lightweight simulation objects that are structs. We have our own ECS, which is kind of beside the point. That's just how I'm organizing our lightweight structs. We could organize them and process them anyway. Sorcerer. So are you using C# as a middle ground, more performant than GDScript, but easier to use than C++? Caveat that you have some awkward bits. That is exactly what I'm doing. That is exactly what I'm doing. It has a performance. My understanding is that its raw performance speed is about 4x, 3 to 4x what GDScript is. I'm not trying to do anything crazy. So it's a combination of the limitations of GDScript, because in GDScript everything is a class. Like most things are going to be objects or nodes or resources or whatever. Like, I'm just trying to... It makes sense? Oh, thank God. Guess we've invested a lot in it. What kind of stuff do you get up to? You seem very, very knowledgeable in the game dev, or at least the programming. Nanigans, Python. Most of the popular performance-sensitive libraries are usually just C++ binaries with bindings to Python. Okay, so it would be the same kind of deal. Makes sense. Anything that was basically calling to C++ would be fast. All right. So how do I get my... How do I, like, get my methods? I, like, never have to do this. I'm going to look at callables a little more. I think if I do that, I'll understand better what's happening here. I think I'm misunderstanding slightly. Because this is like implying that the callable is right next to this function, and in our case, it very much is not. So I need to figure out how I would do that instead. Let's do that here, because I don't care about this page anymore. Sorcerer, as far as Lua versus Lua or Python, you mostly just interested in the expressive affordances. Yeah, it would. I don't know. GDScript is superficially very similar to Python. So how do I do this if I want to like have another node? I want to build this callable from another node callable equals callable self print args. This is essentially what I want to do. So can I do that in... No, because here I have to do callable.from. Does that work? From action. For the given action. So can I actually just make a callable a different way? Will you let me make another callable? Godot object target string method. Yes. Okay. So we could say nodes int node. We could say unpack, or we'd say receive. No, we'd say unpack tile map data. Sorcerer, C++ has no binary level API like C does, so any language that has C++ specific semantics accessible from its syntax is very interesting. Did you hear someone is adding Lua to the mix? Yeah, on YouTube, we've got Nanigans, Diginanigans, who, like me, refuses to just sit in the sandbox and play with the tools they're given. Hey, Jacob, how's it going? Arneo is characterizing Nanigans as also crazy. It's the tile maps. You think the tile maps is what create the madness? You might not be wrong with that, actually. So I can probably make a callable like this. I cannot use bind. So I can't pass the data. So what we're going to do is we're going to basically say something like, we'll keep this. We'll expand this. Forget about group ID. I need to make sure that this occurs in the correct order. So I'm not going to call defer this. We'll make our callable. Should I have like a nullable when false thing? Do we care about that? Nullable if false. I don't remember how to write that. Maybe null when false. Do I not need to do that? Is that implicit? No effect can be removed. I guess it's going to be 0. What I should do is I should set it to be -1 by default. Oh, can I not do that with an out variable? Cannot have a default value. Okay, well, that's fine. That's why we have the false. So that's fine. Let's not worry about it. Sorcerer, now you're curious why Lua and GDScript together. Must be something Lua makes more ergonomic. The dual chat's kind of awkward, you guess. It's a little bit. It's my job to, you know, crazy. You were crazy once, Nanigans. They put you in a room. That's funny. It's a terms of use thing. Or it's a terms of whatever. Twitch does not allow merged chats. I think it might even be so far as Twitch doesn't allow both chats to be visible in like the same. Maybe if the chats are split, it allows it, but I don't put the chats on the screen, and I'm not going to, so it's kind of like kind of an inevitable issue. But we have a Discord. Diginanigan, and a lot of us are very active on it. If you want to pick his brain about why Lua. I think it has to do with Nanigans also has a bunch of web tools that they've built that help, that are like totally separate from Godot. It might have something to do with that. I don't know. I can barely defend what I'm doing. I'm not going to defend what he's doing. But I appreciate your engagement here. All right, so theoretically what I can do is, so it's not going to be unpack, it's going to be like receive tile map data. So we'll pass the data over. We'll create a callable. And then what we're going to do is we're going to say group ID equals worker thread pool dot add group task. So we add our callable, which is callable. Our elements. Okay, here's the part that's tricky. It should be, these are constants. I should just know what they are. Where are they? They're not here for some reason. Where are these constants? They're in the tile drawing system for some reason, which seems wrong. However, it's tile layer count times block tier count. I can't access those. What we can do, we could, well, I already know what this is. Let's just bake it in and then I'll fix it. Magic number time. -1, true. What does this do? Does this not return an int? Oh, it returns a long. What the fuck? What the heck? Okay. Return. Actually, let's reduce nesting, right? Okay, this should... Group ID must be assigned. Okay, forget it. Don't need the else. Arneo, you're in the sandbox playing with the toy trucks. DIGITAL ILIAD are outside the sandbox bringing in construction equipment. Yeah, essentially. Sorcerer, definitely not here to pick anything apart. Not asking why for defense. Oh, no. If I'm defensive, that has to do with my own insecurity. And not with the tone or anything about your inquiries. I like people to ask questions. That means they're watching. Just curious. As a programming language nerd, looks for interesting expressive capabilities across programming languages. Which you assume is why most mixed programming language projects arise. You're always curious for any reasons. Yeah, for me, it's weird. It's a lot of accumulated trauma from being a very long, from being a Unity hobbyist for a long time. Shenanigans. From your understanding, are you talking about the chat thing? I've covered up your message somehow. There we go. The main thing about the merge chat is that if you display YouTube chat on Twitch, if anything is said that could take action and ban a user for, they have no control. Oh, yeah. I mean, that's one of the main reasons I don't have chat displayed. I'm really careful about providing users a way to ruin my VOD. Because we have not taken down a single VOD. We're 302 episodes. We're on episode 302, and I've published all the VODs. So I've managed to prevent any of the kind of nonsense that would cause someone to have to, like, edit the VOD or take it down. And again, as far as why you're adding Lua to the mix for your game, it's for easier modding. All the core systems are written in C#. Business logic should be in Lua. Yeah, that's nice. That's nice. Yeah, I specifically, because of limitations of Godot resources, am not allowing any kind of like modification of behavior like that, except through, you know, config files. But yeah, if you want modders to be able to actually like add functionality, you definitely need some kind of solution that seems safe. Although not necessarily. It's like I actually don't think just, you know, allowing people to execute code in Lua is necessarily safe, but it's definitely something to think about. Gets in the way of the code. Yeah, we try to have a very minimalist stream presentation. I don't know if that's always going to be true, but I would like to think it's going to be true. I haven't really changed anything about my setup. I kind of like it like this. Okay, so I think this will work. It might not be enough work per thread. I feel like worker thread pool will divvy up the work itself. That's one question I have about worker thread pool. I should not be looking at it here. These are just the bindings. There's no C# thing there. Worker thread pool. Worker thread pool. Group task. Number of times to call based on elements. First thread calling it with that. Yeah, I assume it's going to handle the work thread, the work sharing for me. Number of threads the task is distributed to is defined by tasks needed. -1 means it's distributed to all worker threads. Yeah, I think because of what we're trying to do, I think this is the right way to do it. Go wide, give it to everything. Shenanigans, you can lock down the Lua scripting so that it's pretty sandboxed and only call functions you pass from C#. Ooh, okay, that's nice. Arneo, now you're thinking, how do we ruin the VODs? There are ways. There's one way, which no one has figured out, but that's not a challenge. If you take advantage of it, I might ban you. There's at least one loophole. Hey, next, thanks for the hydrate. You saw, Sorcerer, you saw an interesting breakdown of some new features in C#, wishing they were available in Unity, which hasn't been able to catch up yet. So ironically, Godot has newer C# features right now, even though it's not a particularly anointed language. That was the best part about switching over. About using C# and Godot, is I got access to all this fancy new stuff that I never got to touch in Unity. Yeah, Godot supports the newest .NET versions as soon as they come out, which is incredible. And it kind of makes you wonder why Unity has such a hard time with, you know, so many more resources. I feel like it's not unreasonable to say Unity has access to like 100x the resources as Godot, at least. And yet they can't even get that. Tricking Dave into saying some sus words. You can try. You can try. That's not what I meant. That was not what I meant. That is a legitimate point. Anything you miss from Unity, or has Godot got all the toys I need? Godot is pretty much everything I want from Unity. The Godot node, the way nodes and scenes work in Godot is way better than the way prefabs and scenes work in Unity, or even Unreal for that matter, I think. The node scene structure of Godot is so good. Unity has nothing by comparison that is as good for organizing your objects and scenes. So no, there isn't really... I did use the data-oriented tech stack, the entity component system in Unity, which has had a large influence on the way my entity component system works. All right. Can I test the thing now? target node. Send tile map data. Wants target node. So where are we going to wait for this? Would be my question. Is this a task, maybe? That's actually pretty good. That actually might be what I want. Actually, maybe not. Send time map data could return. So we could say if. So we've got out long. Group ID. Return group ID. Oh, this won't work. There's other paths, aren't there? Fix for return -1. There we go. You're guessing it's like IL to CPP and other integrations they needed back then? I presume so. Does Godot use mono for the C# stuff? That also might be why. It is. I think that is. I think that's accurate. Good to know Godot's not a second-class engine. Oh, no. It's first class. You're done with your Pomodoros for the day. Have a great stream. Thanks, Corolla. Take it easy. Hope you had a productive day. Nanigans, your thought process, at least right now, is you'll essentially have event listeners pass data to Lua. When Lua has a chance to manipulate that data before returning it back to C#, well, it will continue. Oh, interesting. Sounds cool. Nix, are you still going with old school RuneScape over there? I remember spending all my days just in the mines trying to put together some like decent stuff. I have memories. All right, so this should work. We get this task. So somewhere we have to wait for the group completion. And I think that's going to be in here. I think we're going to have a list of these. And I think we need to complete all of them before we move on. So there's going to be like a... So the tile drawing system is going to be a task. I haven't really done like this. We need like a task handle. Can't just do this. Not gonna do this like this. We'll do it like this then. Yeah, I don't know what the C# situation with Godot is, but it's complicated, and that's part of the reason why there isn't web support. All right, so we're going to set this up as a task. We used to do that with some of these other processes. So what we want to do is we want to add all of these. We'll have like a list. It doesn't need to be a list. It's kind of wasteful if it's a list. We can do it like this instead of making it a list. They do have a test of it working in the web, but I think it's on like a special branch. I think getting the main version to work is gonna take some doing. So how did I do this before? It used to be the main system itself was a task. So we need to add some of that here. Okay, let me try to get the thread back here. So we got our group ID. So what we have to do is at some point we have to wait for the task to finish. Wait for group task completion at some point so that any allocated resources inside the task can be cleaned up. Returns error busy. If the call is made from another running task and due to test scheduling, there's potential for deadlocking. I'm a little concerned about running this. Well, no, this should be fine. Because this isn't actually a thread. Well, we're basically calling Godot thread, a Godot thread worker pool thing inside of a C# thread, which is questionable. But we'll see. We'll see if this is okay. I might hard code this right now just for better debugging, but we're not going to do that forever. So we'll set all these up. We'll set the tom app layer data. And then what I need to do is we need to wait at the end here. So I need to get these values back. We can say variable editor blocks group ID equals, you can say long. Is that not how I have this set up? Oh my god. Pack tile map. Hold on, this is actually not great. Turn pack tile data. Private long. I forget that we're having to bubble this up here. So this is returning the number, that's returning the number, and then up here, we're getting all of it back. Say long editor. Inputs group ID equals this, and we'll say Editor select. Say long. Group ID. Actually, you know what? I think I do want to do this with a list. Because we actually don't know quite how many groups are going to run. So we're going to just have a list. We're going to say... say list. Groups equals that. You can say group IDs. So you can say group IDs dot add. Oh, can I do it like this? This would be crazy. No, it's not going to let me do an if. But I could do these initial two. Oh, wait, maybe it does work. No, it's not going to let me do that. I didn't think it would, but it was worth a shot. Could I do it as a ternary? We could say -1 if... No, that's not the correct way to do that. Say this. Otherwise, we can just give it -1. There we go. All right. That'll do. All right, Sorcerer, take it easy. Jay Wilkerson just went live. Nice. Enjoy. What you working on, Digital? We're trying to go wide on our process that updates all of the tile map data in the individual tile map layers. So it takes the big packed tile map data things, structures. They're packed byte arrays. They're primitive arrays of bytes. It takes those. Ideally, I think we're doing this in a way where we're not suffering an unnecessary copy, but it basically takes those and then unpacks them and divvies them out to all the different tile map layers. Sorcerer is a good nickname. It is. It is. Source like source code. It's fun. It's a good one. Okay, and then at the end here, we can go through. We can just say for each group ID in group IDs. I guess I got to say long. We just say if group ID is not equal to -1, we want to say wait for, we want to say thread pool, thread worker pool, worker thread pool, wait for group task completion, group ID. Pauses the thread that calls this. Oh, what? Maybe I misunderstood what the purpose of this function is. This might be a horrendous thing to try to do, where I'm currently trying to do it. Wait a second. That's not how this was explained to me. Hopefully that's just the... Wait for group pauses. enough. Maybe we do have to do this like a signal way, where we like pause it in here. Although, how would I know how many signal emittances I'm waiting on? Emits? I guess you can just say emits. Are those fingerless gloves? Yes, it's cold. I've been struggling to get a decent temperature in here for the last couple days. Power outage didn't help last night. All right, well, I'm very concerned about what the behavior is going to be like for this. This is really bad. I mean, it's not it's pretty gross because basically where it says it's pausing. If it's just an await, it should be fine. Just the way they phrased it made me concerned. I'm going to ignore it. We're going to ignore it and assume that it's going to be fine. Hey, wait, what happened to all the code I wrote? Did I not write a whole bunch of code here? The heck? Oh, this is a different object. Oh, thank God. I was like, where did it all go? Block space. Oh, yeah, this is a new thing, huh? Okay. Because this, if we do this here. Oh, you know what? We could maybe do it right here. We could maybe say here. Okay, I think I know where we can do this. And then this function, it's all done linearly. So actually I don't think we need to do all of this nonsense with group IDs and stuff. I'm going to roll this all back. I don't want to do it this way anyway. This seems like a horrible way to do it. So we're going to try to do it this other way. Yeah, we've been having a lot of power outages lately. All right, we're not going to do it this way. I was concerned about doing it this way. Oh, this still needs to be a task, though. So we'll have to set that up. You think going to head out? No worries. Take it easy. All right. I don't know if we're going to quite finish this today. But we might if I redo this like this. So we're gonna not do any of this group ID stuff. We're gonna have this be self-contained. Not gonna do any of this. Just gonna do this. We will hold on to this. Okay, so it's good. It should hold right here. So this is where we're holding this send tile map data. So we go here. Also, wait, what happened down here? Oh, it's because this is still expecting us to pass something out. Is someone else expecting it too? Yeah. This is also going back to being a void. So we'll pause here. And then so instead of this whole thing that I'm doing, where we build out this group. Oh, can we do it? Can we do it the way I want to do it? So let's get rid of all this. I'm going to comment this out because I actually don't remember how this part works. This is the alternative way to do it that I would prefer not to. This will be a void. Forget about all this group ID stuff. We're just gonna call receive tile map data. We are gonna pass in the data. And then what's gonna happen I actually think I need to make, to avoid using magic numbers, I need to add some constants or whatever to this node. But we can do magic numbers. So what we're going to do is we set the pack tile map data. Then we're not going to return. We're just going to add the group task here. This is a void. And then what we're going to do is we're going to say worker thread pool. Oh, this isn't ideal. We can make this work. We'll make this work. Wait for group task completion. Oh, we'll say variable ID equals. Let's say ID. Variable ID is an int. Actually, it's a long. Oh no, it's an int 64. But that's the same in Godot. So we're going to make this high priority. Maybe low priority would be fine. Let's try low priority first and see how we're doing. And see how we do. I think we want this to be high priority, but let's not go crazy. Pack tile map data will work. So we'll wait here, and so we're just hanging on this thread. Hopefully this is not occurring on the main thread. We want to wait to release back to here. And so what we need to do is we actually want to actually set these up here as tasks. So set tile map layer data should be a task. Actually, they're subtasks of this run task. And so how do I do that? So I never remember. So when we want to do that here, we say task is, so this is how we make a task. Sync task. So we need a task handle. We'll have a public, like, should it be public though? Maybe. So we'll do something like this. So we can say variable. So attached to parent, task creation options. I need to remember how this works. I think attached to parent means that it is. So specifies that a task is attached to a parent in the task hierarchy by default. Blah, blah, blah. A child task, an inner task created by an outer task, execute independently of its parent. You can use the attached to parent option so that the parent and child tasks are synchronized. Deny child attached. The phrasing here is so funny. All right, so we're going to start these tasks. They're going to be attached to the parent, but it's the sibling tasks won't interfere with each other. So we'll say public task handle So here we'll say task handle equals task.factory.start new. Let's say return task handle. Actually, do we want to return task handle? I don't think we need to. I guess it depends on who is tracking this. I kind of would like this to track itself. I'd like to do it like this rather than return anything. And then so there, now we're going to put some subtasks in here. So I don't think I need to assign names to the subtask. So I think we can just do it like this. This will all be in there. Oh, so this isn't, there isn't one overarching subtask. These are all individual subtasks. Got it. So we would say something like this. I'm concerned that we can't use this within a Lambda, which is not a huge problem. We would just need to pass in the preview blocks entity, or we could also even just get a buffer ID. Can I make one of these with a buffer ID? Why is the only one accept a component? Is it because the component has actually like important size information? Buffer ID, AABB. Yeah, it does. Okay. Okay. So what we could do, so I can't do that, but I could pass in this. Can I not? Oh, well, that's a separate problem. This problem is I can't use ByRef-like type. Yeah, I don't need to. Yeah, I want to set these to run separately, which would be nice. I don't really want, I want them to run in parallel. That's kind of why. Hope everyone's having a good day. Reaching the end of my time here soon. I understand we've kind of been in code hell here today, but you know, that's just how it is sometimes. We're doing something that'll be pretty good if we can get it to work. Should unlock most performance problems around the tile map. You can get it all to be threaded. Long running, what's that mean? Fewer larger components than fine-grained systems. Provides a hint to this task scheduler that oversubscription may be warranted. Oversubscription lets you create more threads than the available number of hardware threads. Interesting. All right, we're just going to attach it to parent. We're going to do the simple thing. So each one of these will be its own deal here. Do another one here. Well, let's go update this. So we can't pass block tags into this anymore, which is unfortunate if we're going to do it this way. It's going to be a void though, right? Is it because that was a task? Does it work now? No. But what we can do is we can just make a new one of these every time. We can say buffer component. Block tags. What is this? A block tags buffer 3D. You can say buffer comp. And here we can specify. You can say tag comp. Oh, we can say buffer component. And here we can say we can do this part here, down here. Oh, we still need this, huh? Okay. Unfortunate. A little bit more costly, but it's fine. Buffer comp. So we already have the comp. I don't need to get the comp at least. Just making the 3D buffer is cheap, so it should be fine. We are getting components in here though, which is kind of sucks. I want a better way of getting this stuff. We're duplicating some effort here. So will this not work? Oh, it's not the... I see here. So this needs to be variable block tags comp. We could just say buffer component. You say preview buffer comp. Block tags buffer comp. What's this? Block tags buffer comp. And we can just pass in the buffer comp. Have another task in here if we need to. All right, I have to run, so I'm not going to test this. It's going to break. Oh, maybe I'll run it once. No, it's going to break. We need to fit. There's still way more to do here. But we're in the process of adding a bunch of multi-threading to our auto tile updater. The way we've settled on doing this is we're going to run a task here in the tile drawing system. That task will have a bunch of subtasks. Each subtask is updating a different set of tile map layers with data. And this is at a large scale too, so like each of these is updating like a couple hundred tile map layers. We're giving each of them a thread or a task, not necessarily a thread, but a task. Inside there, down kind of at the bottom, we pack, so we get all the block, we set the tile map layer data here, we get a bunch of tile stuff. We pack the data down here, which is an unsafe function, partly because we're fixing the memory while we're doing this, to hopefully be able to pin it so that it survives the journey over to GDScript. Then what we do is we send that data. We call this function. This call is where we're going to hold, because this call calls receive tile map data, which sets the data we sent over. Then it creates, or it creates a group task for all of this. And then it waits for all of those tasks to be completed before relinquishing. And then back up here, you see these are set. They're just set and they run. And they run in parallel because they're not attached to each other. They're just attached to their parent, the overall task. And then here we need, actually you don't do it. Here we just need a thing that says, so we can do this and we can say if game.tiledrawingSystem.taskHandle.is completed. Then we'll do this. Why does that not work? Does this not return a bool? Oh, that's not a function call. I'm dumb. I don't like that. I don't like doing that. There's going to be more logic to run here. So this could cause some problems. What if we just ran it? What does a faster than light entail? Hey, Frost. All right, where's our initial problem here? Object reference not sent to a reference of an object. Top level system dot run. Oh, I know with it. Why? Task handle. I remember this. So Frost, that refers to FTL faster than light, a classic Steam game about starship management. Thanks, LS Dev. Good to see you. Appreciate you stepping in there. It's like a pixel art space management game from a long time ago now. And I'm kind of making my own take on it. It's more of an isometric 2D kind of deal. I like LS Dev's summary. FTL Faster Than Light is a sci-fi roguelike where your gameplay loop is route planning mixed with multiple choice question answering, interspersed with combat encounters. It's like the classic roguelike progression, right? Because everyone uses that now, right? FTL, Slay the Spire, probably most famously, has that exact same structure. I think that's like the default roguelike structure. I think we're going to do a little bit more with it. That is the gist. That's where that's where we're starting from. It was a good stream as always. Thanks. Appreciate that. Crazy that old school RuneScape is still being worked on. I played that game in like early middle school. played that game when I was like, I don't know, so long ago. I must have been like 12 or 13 when I started playing that game. It's definitely the Wild West back then, right? This kind of stuff for these online environments. All right, so this is slightly different than the way that I previously did the task management stuff. Slightly different. Where's the sync task stuff? So we would set this sync task. If it is completed, we can do all this stuff. Set that up. It is completed. We do that. I'm doing it a little differently where the run task is not considered a task. There's a task in here that is the task. So all I need to do here is do this. Sync task equals task.run. I need this empty. It's really stupid. You have to assign it with this empty thing, or it won't initially read as being complete. So if we do that, do we get at least a different error? Okay, we're getting tile map format issues. That's fine. I'm going to work on that later. Did it crash? Tiles, add, all key. Item with the same key has already been added. Ooh. Oh. This is a member variable. We might need to protect our shared memory. Because it was all sequential, we were doing set tile map data stuff with a member variable, and that might not be super safe anymore. It's not. Okay. Well, I know what to do tomorrow. That's fine. I set aside this whole week to fixing this performance issue. And we'll fix it using multiple vectors. The multi-threading will be one. We'll change probably maybe some of the design of it too. We might also attempt to do some things where we can tell whether or not it actually has changed. That might be 3. We'll see about that. I don't know. But time for me to mosey on out of here. Specifically to the laundromat before I go back to work. I appreciate everyone hanging out, especially everyone over on YouTube. You're very quiet, but I see you. I see you over there. Thank you. I hope this has been a chill experience for everybody. Just hanging, co-working, whatever we do here. Sleep is creeping up on you, Arneo. You better close some tabs.
Maximum
Get
walk.
out of here. Let sleep take you. Try not to be online for Diginanigans stream. All right. Maximum warp, Nix. All right. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you all have a great rest of your day. And we'll be back tomorrow. So hopefully I'll see you all next time. Bye.